Hey everybody, what is going on? My name is Raven. Welcome back to the channel. Now, yesterday's video we were talking about the Salem witch trials. Now today, a lot of you may not know about this, but did you know, around 200 years before the witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts, Europe was convicting men and occasionally some women of transforming into werewolves and eating children. The punishments were sometimes as gruesome as the alleged crime themselves. In Germany of 1589, executioners strapped accused werewolf Peter Stump to a cartwheel, removed his skin with hot pincers, and chopped his head off before burning his body at the stake. His head was attached to a wolf carcass, which was later displayed as a warning to others tempted to consort with the devil. Now, werewolf trials took place in parts of Europe around the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries, driven by superstition, religious and political clashes, and the desire to find scapegoats for harsh conditions. Many of the accused were beggars, hermits, or recent emigres to the areas. Many confessed to being werewolves and committed heinous crimes, but only after they were tortured. Historians suspect some suffered from delusions or weren't intellect enough to know what they were admitting to. A few may have been actual pedophiles or serial killers, but the history records are fragmented and exaggerated. Centuries later, it's difficult to untangle folklore from real evidence and what people believed to be real at the time. The concept of humans transforming into werewolves goes back a millennia. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, from Mesopotamia in 2100 BC, the hero abandons a love interest when he learns that she turned an ex-lover into a werewolf. In Greek mythology, King Lycaon of Arcadia tests Zeus' omnipotence by feeding him disguised human remains and is turned into a werewolf as punishment. His name is the root of the term lycanthropy, used for both changing into a werewolf and the delusion of being one. Werewolves are also figured into the folklore of the Middle Ages, but they were usually benign characters who shapeshifted into beasts against their own will and were desperate to return to human form. Charges that real people could be menacing werewolves surfaced as part of the witch trials that swept through parts of Europe in the 1400s. Officials in the Valais region of Switzerland conducted large-scale prosecutions, blaming witches for crop failures, lameness, blindness, infertility, and impotence, as well as adopting wolf forms and mutilating cattle. According to some accounts, several hundred men and women were convicted and burned at the stake in the Valais starting in 1428, often with a sack of gunpowder around their necks. Any land they owned automatically transferred to the local vassal of the king, which may have spurred the accusations. In 1521, inquisitors appointed by the Pope presided over several trials of alleged werewolfery. Two shepherds, Pierre Bergot and Michael Verdon, confessed to making a pact with the devil in exchange for food, meeting with a man in black who gave them all ointment that turned them into werewolves, then attending midnight witch gatherings and hunting and eating children. Both were convicted and burned at the stake, along with a third who refused to confess. A patrol in the eastern French town of St. Claude tracked down Giles Gardner, an immigrant living in poverty in the forest, and accused him of mutilating children near Dole in 1573. After torture, Garner confessed to killing 4 children and feeding their bodies to his family on a Friday, a double sacrilege given the church's edict against eating meat on Fridays. He was burned at the stake, despite some doubts he could have physically traveled 60 kilometers away where some of the missing children lived. St. Claude's Grand Judge, Henry Bouquet, became convinced that a large group of witches and werewolves were terrorizing the community, and ordered multiple arrests and prosecutions, with the charges often used interchangeably. He also authorized treatises on various forms of demons, including werewolves, and in 1598 alone pronounced 17 death sentences. But he had to reconcile his legal views with the church's official position that God alone could transform humans and the devil could only create illusions. Noting that he had seen confessed werewolves snarling and prancing around the courtroom on all fours. Bouquet concluded they were clearly under the devil's spell and thus equally deserving of execution. Modern medical experts theorize that some accused werewolves could have suffered from porphyria, which causes sensitivity to light, reddish teeth, and psychosis, or hypertrichosis, a hereditary condition that manifests in excessive hair growth. Lycanthropy, believing oneself to be a werewolf, might have been brought on by deliberately or unwittingly consuming hallucinogenic herbs, mushrooms, or folk concoctions. Werewolf trials continued sporadically in the 17th century in Germany, the Netherlands, and Eastern Europe, particularly in isolated rural areas. But gradually, the educated and elite stopped believing in the devil or animal transformation. In 1692, in Livonia, Sweden, an 80-year-old man named Thies was laughed out of court when he professed to being a werewolf and entering hell 3 times a year to battle witches and devils and ensure a good harvest. He was later convicted of practicing folk magic, sentenced to flogging, and banished for life. As the threat posed by real wolves in Europe slowly vanished due to industrialization and population growth, Metzger writes, even the delusion of being a werewolf was gradually replaced by other forms of psychosis. It is also believed that around 30,000 were executed as being believed to be werewolves in France alone between 1520 and 1630. But it's kind of hard to actually determine how many for sure. What do y'all think of this? Do you think that this has any truth to it? Do you think that there could have actually been werewolves? Obviously, historians and medical professionals believe that it's just diseases that could trick the body into thinking that it is. Or it could have been, something to do with the devil and witchcraft. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. It was actually interesting to read. This was something that I'd never read before. So, reading something new is always good. And this is said to be in history of the world. So, win-win. If you did like today's video, go ahead and hit that like button. And also, if you're new here, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell. They are free to do. And it also allows you to know every single time that I upload, which is pretty much every single day of the week. And I will see you on the next video. Bye!